Okay, so hypothetical. Let's imagine you are working on this one night and you save everything and you go home and you come back the next day and you open it up and all of your deformers are gone. Right? This is something that happens pretty often to people, and it's actually a perk, not a bug. Your deformers aren't gone, they're just not visible sometimes by default. And so I want to talk about it. Like, all of my deformers are still here. You'll actually see it right there. There's my deformer. I can organize this a little bit cleaner here. But my eyelid deformers are still there. My body deformers are still there. Right? I just can't see them. So that's where these buttons here are coming in. These little green circles. So right now, if I have a deformer selected and I click this button right here, it's going to show the selected deformer and hide all of the others. So now I just see the one on the eyelid, right? If I were to choose the alien body, which is the highest in the hierarchy, and click that, it's going to show everything, right? This one right here will just show the selected deformers and it won't unhide anything. So if I decide I just want to see the bottom lid, I can click here and just see the bottom lid, or if all of them are turned on, or if I just want to turn one of them on, I can turn it on this way. These other things will have other things that you can do with them as well, but just know that they didn't disappear. They didn't get deleted. They just are hiding, right? And so now they're all back, and it's because, in all honesty, like sometimes the rig with the deformers on is kind of not appealing. So if you click out here outside of the box and you just want to see it without the deformers to see what this looks like, click out here where you have nothing selected and this button, and it will hide all of your deformers. And that way when you click here, you can bring them all back. Right? So one more thing I want to do that I kind of forgot to do with the eye, which is I want to make another node that moves everything with the eye. And then after that, I'm going to work on the antennas. So I have this eye white. It moves the eye white, right? And I can move it outside of this. My iris moves that inside of here, and each of my individual lids can move each of the individual lid. I would like a master eye control that moves all of that. And so I would just maybe move some of this down a little bit. And I'll go to eye white and hit Control P. And that's going to be my master peg that goes into here. And I'm going to centralize that. And I'm going to plug this into everything in here. Probably not iris because that's going to go with the eye white. I'll put that on top lid, bottom lid. Now, by doing that, I sort of broke now that it's not going to go with the body. And so that means I need to, again, from that kinematic output, put that into eye white. And again, let's rename this and we'll call this eye master peg. There we go. How's that? Yeah, there we go. Cancel. Close that. And so that now gives us this one control that allows us to move the entire eye wherever we want to move it and however we want to move it, right? That's going to come in handy when it comes time to animate. Looking at my antenna here, I'm going to go ahead and do one more thing to these drawings before I get started. And that's under here. I would kind of like to just get rid of that bottom edge. Probably do it just by doing a little bit of something like this. Yeah, and then just deleting that. And then like that. Oh, I got to do it on the antenna drawing itself. Deleting that. I just think that looks a little bit better. There we go. And so I'm going to go ahead and do another simple deformer on this again. Again, I'm a sucker for that curve deformer, and it feels like that would probably work pretty well here. But just in case, let's try a bone deformer and see if we like that better. And there we go, and just sort of click up here a few times. And let's just see if this does what I want. So now when I go to move, I get this. Yeah, that's kind of neat. Let's keep that. I think the only thing I would really change on this is I'm going to probably soften that circle right here on the top. bring that down a little bit more to like that. And that way, when I'm rotating this one, I'm getting a little bit less bend in that, right? I'll go ahead and do the same on my antenna here. And let's see, how many did I do? I did one at the base, one here, one here, here, and one at the end. And then I'm going to make that a little smaller. I'm also probably, I think I got a little bit crooked there. There we go. And so now I believe we're really close to being done with this rig. Let's see if I move this, all my antenna go with me. There we go. And let's say I want this to look like the character is looking down at the ground. I have my master eye peg where I can move this over to here. Now it's looking down at the ground, right? And I can adjust my eye angle and stuff to make that look better. So yeah, I'm liking where this is at. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. And for right now, oh, there's one last thing I would like to do. I feel like this one is a small one, but I'm going to do it anyway. Right now, to move my entire character, I have to click this body peg, right? But I may actually want yet another peg above that to sort of think of it as a placement peg. So let's say I wanted my character to start off on the top of a hill and then jump down. I could use my placement peg to put it at the top of the hill and then use the body peg to jump it back down. That way, if I ever needed to get back up to the top of the hill, all I had to do was delete that keyframe and it would start off to where it was, right? It's a small thing, but it's kind of a, it also allows you to, it's like a secondary redundancy, right? So again, I'll hold that, hit Control P, and we'll call this alien character, right? And with that, I'm going to call this rig complete. One last thing I want to show you with that alien character and why this is nice is in our viewport here, like this is a mess, right? But if I have this alien character peg, actually I should also make sure that peg is the right pivot point. Right, it is not. Let's put it down here. If I have this alien character peg, I can now minimize the entire character up to a single layer. And that's going to come in really handy when it comes time to animate. Last thing I want to talk about is sort of making this like a little safer to animate. One of the things you'll notice is if I move my timeline, everything disappears, right? That's because all of my drawings, for the most part, are just one frame long, right? If I go, I'm assuming this is going to be like, let's say 200 frames long, maybe a little longer. I'll go ahead to frame 200, and if I hit F5 with this minimized, it's going to extend all of the drawings that are underneath there out to this. And then the last thing I'm going to do is if I expand everything out where I can see all of my drawings, right? I don't really now need to be able to touch the drawing itself very often, right? Most of the animation I'm going to do is on the pegs and on the pegs and on the deformers, right? So that means I can go in here for all of the drawings and lock them. And this is going to prevent me from accidentally moving them or for selecting them instead of something else I meant to select, right? So this is kind of like a way of protecting me from making a mistake later and accidentally editing something I didn't mean to edit. So I missed eye white. I think that got all of them. If not, I'm sure I will accidentally animate it later. So.